It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
With Ease US makes studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator. The You Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. You Like.
It is the Pete Sousa Show. We are presented by Slovacics. We're live here. By the way, this is one of these days in Central Texas where it is so perfect. I walked over here, which is always nice, and it's just one of those. I guess it's still autumn, right? I mean, it's an autumn day. It is just unbelievable. So a lot of gratitude for the weather here today. Yeah, it's just one of those, it's picture perfect. We're presented by Slovacics, which is also picture perfect. Baylor plays at home against Utah this weekend. And I think Texas is at home. No, they're on the road. They're at Georgia. So forget that part. But if you are headed to the Baylor game and you are coming from the DFW, or if you're headed to the DFW and when you're coming from Austin, you got to stop at Slovacics. And if you're looking for a car while you're at Slovacics, you can mull that over and then dart over to the folks at Socorro Family Ford. and they will help you out and help you find a car. And if something were to happen to you in that car and you feel like you're getting screwed by an insurance company, then you call Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, right? And let's just say you get compensated for said unfortunate situation on the road. You can put your money in First National Bank of Central Texas. We've taken care of it for you all. And then when you hit it big after investing that money and you want to open up a shop here in Central Texas, we'll want you to get in touch with Crawford Austin Properties, okay? And they'll find you the spot. There you go. There's other sponsors too, but they can wait because I just took too long with that. We are hit with breaking news as we start the show. First of all, we're going to have Rod Babers from Texas, former Texas defensive back stand-up, played in the NFL for a while, and is doing a heck of a job in the media space, as we say these days. And we're going to talk with Rod about the Texas-Georgia game and Arch Manning and what Texas and their hopes look like going forward from someone who knows exactly what it looks like to play big-time football at Texas and have success there. But we got to start with Mack Rhoades, man. Just before the show, we get an alert. Scotty messaged me. He said, "Did you hear about the Mack stuff?" And then I was like, "An update?" And he said, "Yeah, he's taking a leave of absence." And I'll just read to you. I don't want to read like the exact party source, like a Baylor quote, because that can be sometimes just a little boring. So let's go with what Ross Dellinger had to say. Baylor AD Mack Rhoades is taking a leave of absence for personal reason, the school confirms to Yahoo Sports. Rhoades initiated the leave, which started yesterday. How this impact, and this is important now. This hits home for us here because Central Texas, it's kind of like the nerve center for Baylor and their athletic programs. But how this impacts his appointment on the college football selection committee, he is the chair now, remember, is unclear. I said this on this show last week, or no, I guess it was earlier this week. I said it on Monday I had heard about the story. A lot of us, if you had heard about like scuttlebutt and rumors about the incident on September 20th, before, basically during, and then after the Arizona State football game against Baylor, everybody had heard a little bit about that, right? And the story broke on Friday. Outkick first put it out there, then The Athletic, and then everyone else sort of did their aggregation and then contributed in any way they could of that story. But Outkick broke it, and I will Google Mack Rhoades' name though, or put it in my Twitter search, and really there was more content about him being the college football chair than there was about the situation that had happened on September 20th and then the fallout. So that, for me, I think gives an appreciation to the magnitude of that role and really what the impact on the college football playoff committee. It's not like they're not going to have a committee or whatever, but that's a huge deal for the sport of college football. And it's not a good look. I'm sorry, it's not a good look for Baylor. It's not a good look for Mack. Like, you get appointed this huge position, and the timing of this just sucks. And we don't know exactly why he's taking the leave. I mean, clearly, you read the tea leaves, it's something connected to this incident and situation. And, I know Scotty has reached out. I have reached out to folks I know close to the situation. And I'm not looking to break any crazy news story that's like derogatory or negative around Baylor or Mack. I'm always very transparent with I'm sort of maybe even unhealthy sometimes with loyalty, and the positions that Baylor has put me in to succeed probably make me not the guy to go to with this story, because I'm careful about how I just approach all of this, because I'm just when the parties involved, it hits a little different. I think we could all agree on that. I hope I really like Mack. And I like everybody over there at Baylor Athletics. So I hope they figure it out. I'm sure they will. And also, too, and I'm not saying anything that I have no clue as to what is going on. I want to make that clear. I mean, I know a lot about the situation that happened on September 20th, but as of this morning, right? I'm not going to tell you, here's what I know, here's what I don't know. But the leave, I will say this, okay? the situation and the reports we got about that story on September 20th, and just to give you a quick recap, Michael Trigg, one of Baylor's best player, if not their best player this season, was wearing yellow sleeves. And right before the game, literally, I think the kickoff was being received by Baylor or about to be. And Michael Trigg in the first team offense is about to take the field in real game time. And Mac kind of grips him up, whether it was during the kickoff or right before they went on the field, and grabs this yellow undershirt that Michael Trigg has on, which no one else on the team is wearing, but certainly is totally in line with Baylor's uniform colors. Now, there's a lot more to the story leading up to that, right? Apparently, Michael Trigg, according to sources and stuff that I've heard from, was getting a lot of preferential treatment around the program, and some people weren't crazy about that. And look, I said earlier this week, it goes back to like when Lawrence Taylor's playing for the Giants, and Lawrence Taylor is late for a meeting, right? And Bill Belichick says to Bill Parcells at the time, Bill Belichick's the DC, and he says, hey, Lawrence was late for a meeting today. And Bill Belichick's like, why the hell did you start the meeting? And that story's hilarious now because they won a couple of Super Bowls and 30 years later, But at the time, you could, if a beat writer uncovered that and reported it, that's interesting, right? And so there are some feelings that Michael Trigg was getting that superstar treatment, right? And this was another maybe example of that maybe pushed Mac over the edge to say something to him. And there was an expletive involved, what the F are you wearing? That was a quote in the story. And first of all, this goes back to this whole incident. And then after the game, by the way, because apparently coaches were right there, right? And they got in between Mac and Michael Trigg. And then after the game, Mac allegedly put his hands on an assistant coach as the situation went further. So ugly situation, but the word I would use is strange situation, strange behavior, unlimited access too, which is a concern. I've been around sports for a long time, college football, pro football, NBA, whatever. As working in the NBA, I never had like the team president come in the locker room or like interrupt during like warm-ups, or it just never happened. Even if the president was the GM, it never happened. In college football, I've never seen an athletic director put his hands on a player prior to a kickoff, unless it was to pat him on the back and say, go get him, give him hell, and then move off, be either way, far away from the action. The access there is sort of, it's interesting. And I think when you look at the fact that Mac was the guy who chose to re-up with Dave Aranda, there's a concern or a thought, at least a thought by me. It's like, wow, was part of Mac keeping Dave around? Like, was there an agreement? Hey, like you have carte blanche, to this program, because Mac's a football guy, and like most ADs, he's a football first guy. Mac Rhodes was an SEC athletic director at Missouri before he came to Baylor, and he's had a ton of success. And you could say, okay, he got this move wrong or that move wrong, but he is like an extremely powerful and important figure in college sports. Look no further than his role as the college football playoff committee chair. So, like, yeah, we have a ground zero view here at Baylor, and you could be like, can't believe he's kept Dave Aranda around, and man, Kim Mulkey should still be here. At the end of the day, like, you can survey the landscape of college athletics, and Mac Rhodes is a really good athletic director. And as far as I am concerned, and in my interactions with him, he's a really good dude. But the behavior is kind of weird and interesting. I would say strange. I don't want to use weird, but him taking a leave of absence, you just hope everything's okay. And I don't know if there's anything more to the story, but thinking about Mac and thinking about Baylor athletics, and it's a crappy way to go into a game against Utah. Scotty, you learned anything about this yet? Anything you care to share?
Nothing I care to share.
Okay.
I am receiving some thoughts.
Yeah.
And there's a theme that's coming out about what this could be, but nothing definitive.
What's the theme? Can you share that?
It's not worth sharing. I can tell you on a break.
Okay. Yeah, and good call by Scotty, because this is where stuff gets like a little like hyperbolic, right? Like if you, we're all really interested and dialed in I mean, Scotty calls me Prisoner Pete, right? So now I'm definitely like, and that's a good sign, right? At least I live in the moment. I might be a dummy, but I live in the moment, right? Prophet of the present. But the truth is, it's a serious matter, and you don't want to fly around with theories and themes and all that stuff right now because you really don't know. And I've said this before, and I always go back to, you know, my work as a public relations person and being around NBA teams and football teams. And, you know, the only people that really know the truth are the people in that building. And the only time you'll probably really get the truth is like 2 or 3 years from now or a year from now when people who are in that building right now have left that building and maybe want to talk about what happened. Which, by the way, with a lot of the instability right now around Baylor's football program, that could be maybe sooner than later, right? Because in an era where the transfer portal constantly opens up and there's kind of a turnstile with maybe your players and even some of your coaches, you know, you may glean some information here sooner than you thought. Let me check. I just got a note from somebody. Yeah, same deal as you. Can't really share it there, Swingler. So we got Rod Babers coming up, and Baylor, by the way, has a big football game against Utah this weekend, and it's a huge game for Utah. And it's a 6 p.m. game on ESPN2. So the spotlight is going to be on Baylor. That's primetime college football. And I know ESPN will not. They may not touch on it at all. I think they probably will. Just having worked those games and on those crews, they may touch on it, especially because he's the college football committee chair. But they won't go any further than reading the statement. Why would you? I think in game, you know, that's the beauty of being a play-by-play guy. Or being part of a live event. Like, let's celebrate the event today. I remember when I first got the opportunity to call college basketball for ESPN, one of my first games was Texas-Oklahoma in Oklahoma, college basketball. And it was literally a week or two after Chris Beard had been put on leave by Texas and Rodney Terry had taken over. And it was sort of one of those deals where, hey, we are here to celebrate college football, college basketball. So unless there's an update on the Chris Beard story, you mention it when you mentioned Rodney Terry and what he's doing as coaches, but you don't really dive into it. So I will say the timing is interesting, right? It's Thursday. Like the ESPN crew is probably getting here today. But I don't expect them to start looking under rocks. That's not what those guys do. The one thing I'll say, Scotty, and I want to bring you in for this just because it's interesting, right? I want to sort of pivot to the news coverage of this story. I have been surprised. Dave was asked about this on his Monday media availability.
Yep.
Because remember, Baylor was on a bye last week. And, he did the best he could do. It was total Dave, you know what I mean? Like, hey, we're just getting ready to play Utah. But David Smoke asked, Bryce Cherry asked. I feel like there has been a lack of coverage on this story by some of the parties that be around this area. Would you agree with that or no?
No.
You don't agree?
I think, and I was part of this, so I'm implicated in here as well, but at least here, you, me on my show, you on your show, Mosley on his show, all covered it pretty extensively. I think some others have given it mention. I think the previous allegations about Arizona State and what we had heard last week, I don't know that it deserved much more than a mention. A lot of us, probably you included, had heard some things that aren't public knowledge that seemed to say, well, Mac's fine. Like Mac's fine.
Yeah.
This story today is going to draw, I think, significant attention. And I think Baylor would be wise, not far be it for me to give PR advice to the university, but I think Baylor would be wise to get out in front of this and be as transparent as possible.
That's what they did with their statement to Outkick. I will say that.
They did.
Yeah.
But with this story,
yeah,
all they've said, and we know this broke in the last hour, so this is fresh as can be. With this story, all they've said is Mac Rhodes has taken a leave of absence. We will decline comment further.
Okay.
If I were Baylor, if this involves Baylor University at all, if it is more than just a truly Mack Rhoades personal, physical, spiritual problem, you need to address it quickly.
Yeah.
Because we know what happened a decade ago.
Yeah.
We know the consequences of that. And you got to be above, not to just get over biblical or Christian about it, but you got to be above reproach on this front. Like you've got no more grace in the public if you're Baylor to like be secretive about anything. You just got it. Yeah. And I'm not, and
I again, trust they will be, dude.
Sure. Like I said, last hour, and we do not know. Like I am not going to come on here and accuse Baylor or Mac of severe wrongdoing until we know.
Yeah.
But if there is more to this than, again, a personal, spiritual, physical kind of problem that only involves Mack Rhoades, if that's the case, it's not Baylor's place to comment. If it's anything more than that, they need to get ahead. This does not need to be found out by Ross Dellinger, who's kind of like leading the way on this Mac story right now. It does not need to be found out by ESPN.
But like you said, if it is personal for Mac, then Baylor they're doing the right thing.
Correct.
By not.
Correct. Yeah. People have personal issues and we don't need to throw
hell yeah, they do.
People under the bus. You and I know that as well or better than anybody.
Yeah.
But
I got a book up there.
If
it says Alcoholics Anonymous on it. Right?
If this is an issue that affects anyone beyond Mack Rhoades affiliated with Baylor, get in front of it. Like that would just, as a Baylor alum, as a supporter of the athletic program, get in front of it, own it, wear it, do whatever the right thing is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be tense. I'm supposed to do a Baylor football pregame show for 3 hours Saturday, and I'm going to be tense the next 48 hours.
Dude, I'm calling a Baylor basketball game Friday night.
Bingo.
I mean, it's just kind of, it's just like,
and like the basketball game will get played, the football game will get played.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the sport, but it's hard when it's your AD for this to not. And again, AD and Baylor's past, you had a crazy scandal in 02-03, crazy scandal in like 15-16. I don't want a once a decade dramatic bad look for Baylor coming out of the athletic department. Like I don't. So like some of this is just my fear of like, I really hope, I don't wish bad upon anybody. I hope this is just a Mack Rhoades personal problem.
Oh, dude, I totally believe it is.
I hope this isn't a Baylor.
I totally believe it's a singular. I think,
but you got to understand why. Like, there's other Baylor people like me right now whose hearts are probably racing a little bit and a little nervous. Like, not again. Like, not please. I even said that Monday when we were talking about the Arizona State thing. I was like, I don't need another. Yeah. Oh gosh.
No, and I think this is not anything. There are no. This is my call right now. I'm saying it point blank. There are no tentacles to this. There are no. There's no. I don't believe there's some massive underbelly. I think you've got an individual who screwed up, and whether or not you could rationalize the screw up. Again, we haven't heard a peep from Mac. All we heard from was the Michael Trigg camp. And a Baylor statement. And it's quite possible that Baylor has received more pressure following the release of this information last Friday. It's quite possible that Mac has just been standing still and nothing's changed because he did apologize for that through Baylor in the statement they made on Friday. And it could just be mounting pressure, which we often see. Hey, you know what? We've thought about this. We've investigated a little bit more. Maybe there's folks around, the upper echelon of the athletic department. Imagine if Scotty was, a millionaire, a multimillionaire, and he was contributing a lot of money to Baylor, and he has this PTSD. He's like, finally, I'm there. But he's got this PTSD because Scotty's PTSD is legitimate. Unfortunately, his bank account that I just mentioned is not. But if he was in this, in this elite company, I don't even want to say elite, just in this wealthy class, right, that could donate a lot of money, he now has a voice, right? And we've talked about this. A lot of these donors and contributors have more of a voice than ever in college football in particular, because their money makes the product go. So if there's a couple guys or girls or men or women that are donating money to the football program, specifically under the watchful eye of Mack Rhoades, maybe they're feeling differently about that since this story came out. And maybe they've applied the pressure. We have no idea. So it's quite possible that really nothing has changed, but the pressure on the university to make a move here and to maybe put Mac on ice. But again, we don't know, and anything now that it comes out of my mouth, anything more is speculation. And the great Joe Buck once said, and I loved this, even though it was connected to an ugly situation, and I always think about this when I'm calling games. It was when DeMar Hamlin went down, and nobody knew really what to do for ESPN. If you remember that moment in sports television, they were going back to the studio, and the studio wasn't actually on site, so there really wasn't much they could say. So they kept going back to the stadium, and there's Joe Buck and Troy and Lisa Salters. And Joe was just like, yo, speculation, which is what we're doing now, is another word for guessing. So you really just, and guessing really just like, because that's what people are doing right now, is guessing. Some people have information to make educated guesses, which maybe I feel like I have some of that, but now is not the time, because if you have a microphone and you have a platform, you should also have some responsibility. And that's what I'm trying to have right now. I don't want to throw around guesses. And, the possibility that somebody could take my educated guess and run with it and it not be true is something I'm not looking forward to doing or wanting to do. Scotty, anything for you before we take a break and are joined by our good friend Rod Babers?
I got nothing.
All right, we're going to talk football when we get back. Any updates on the Mac Road situation, we will be sure to let you know. For now, the Pete Sousa Show goes on. We are presented by Slovacics. We got Rod Babers coming up. Man, I'm pumped about this. And also, we got our picks coming up with Kevin Hall. I love saying Kevin Hall. For some reason, I feel like he should be a wrestler. Kevin Hall's a great name, and he's got the best voice. It's just when he starts talking, there's an issue. The Pete Sousa Show. We'll be back after this.
With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Designed to elevate the off-road experience, enabling adventurers to conquer any terrain. For 50 years, you've trusted us on your toughest recoveries, to your most breathtaking destinations, and in countless unforgettable memories.
We offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
WhyPersonalLoans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit PersonalLoans.com today.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on their screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
I am obsessed with helping business owners increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. It's this amazing platform where people are looking for ideas, inspiration. They have a problem and they're actively looking for a solution.
Stability.
It is the Pete Sousa Show, and we are very lucky right now to be joined by Rod Babers. Rod, besides the fact that the guy was lights out on the football field, he's also lights out. There he goes with the hook 'em. I'll give it right back to you. He was also lights out on Texas football. That show kicks ass, man. You guys are doing great. It's really cool to have you, man. Thanks so much, Rod.
No, thanks for having me, Pete. I appreciate it, man. This is a pleasure, no doubt, an honor, actually.
Hey, I got a question for you. I don't know if you saw, but Baylor's AD, Mac Rhodes, just took a leave of absence, right? And the story goes back to on September 20th, before their game against Arizona State, he was right there in the trenches. I know this to be true, where he was able to put his hands on a player. Yeah, when you were, I guess, was it DeLoss Dodds? He was your AD when you were there, right?
Yep.
Like, what would you have thought as a player if you're getting ready to go out there to play defense after the opening kickoff and he's gripping you up, like right in the mix, telling you something about your uniform, or like, that's kind of crazy, no?
It seems like conduct unbecoming of someone of that type of that authority, right? I've never seen really an AD get that into the mix. We got a great AD now at Texas in Chris Del Conte, and he's really involved with the fans, and he's really hands-on with everything. But you would never see him getting on a player or motivating a player or even trying to interact with a player really on the sideline like that. So I'm with you. It's very peculiar. Just something you will see.
That's the rule. That's the word, like strange, peculiar. You know, I don't want to be a jerk and use weird, but it's kind of in that same vein. So yeah, okay. I had to ask you that before we got going. All right, then let's turn the page to the actual games. Huge one coming up this weekend for the Longhorns against Georgia. It's almost as though every game now is a must-win for Texas, because I believe they still got a very healthy shot, clearly, at the college football playoff. When you look at this Texas team, what do you think is the ceiling for this squad?
Oh, that's good. It really, because we haven't seen them have a lot of carryover and basically they to transfer from what happens in one game to the next game. Actually, this past week against Vanderbilt was one of the first times all season that we saw some of the Texas success in one area, at least against Mississippi State in that fourth quarter, also translate over to the next game. So we're starting to see a little bit of transfer, and that's consistency so they can build an identity. His offense has been struggling all year long, especially on the offensive line. I think they still are 122nd, I believe, in pressure rate allowed. But recently they made some changes. Actually, right for that Vanderbilt game, they moved Cole Hudson to guard. He was playing center. They moved him to guard, and then they got Connor Robinson at center. Worked out really well. Apparently only had 6 pressures allowed in that game. Arch Manning was hit only once. Seems like they have a new recipe with getting the ball out quicker. Time to throw for Arch in that game was about 2.5 seconds was the average time to throw. So if they can build on what they created and what really they kind of solidified last week versus Vandy. Now that's a tall task versus Georgia at Georgia, but if they can build on that offensively, I think they may be close to having an identity on offense, and that's what they've been missing all season long. The defense has been great. The defense has had some issues in the secondary recently. We can talk about that, but what they've really been missing, special teams has been fantastic too, by the way. Ryan Niblett might be the best punt return in the country. What they've really been missing is an identity on offense, and I think they started to formulate one last week.
Okay, that literally leads me to my next question. If they beat Georgia, right, what are we talking about? What was the identity of the offense that enabled them to win that game?
That's interesting because I'm not sure what they did versus Vanderbilt is going to work versus Georgia. Georgia has better athletes, period, all around the football and all over that defense. So they'll tackle better in space. I believe Vanderbilt missed 20 tackles in that game. I don't see Georgia missing that many tackles. They're the best tackling team, arguably, in the SEC. What they don't do well is generate pressure. Outside the 122nd, I believe, in sacks, 125th in tackles for loss. So last year, they created a lot of havoc, created a lot of negative plays, but they're not doing that this year. So I think there may be opportunity for Texas to get the football downfield. Now, they got to pass protect because I think Kirby's going to try to come after Arch. But if they can pass protect, I think they can win some of the matchups on the outside. Everybody knows Georgia's aggressive. They want to play some man-to-man defense. So I think initially Texas is going to get the ball out quickly, but there will be opportunities to take shots downfield. I think that's what Texas is going to have to do. It's going to be really hard to get 13, 14, 15 play drives against this Georgia defense, considering how good that rush defense is and how bad the Texas rush offense is right now. They really don't have much of a running game. It's more symbolic than anything.
When you talk about Kirby Smart, that's one of the most impressive defensive minds in all of college football. What about his defenses for someone like you with defense and explosive play in your DNA? What do you like about the way that Georgia plays?
Their fast flow defense, quick key. What I mean by that is when they see a key that they have studied on film and been prepared for, there's no hesitation. Fast flow to the football and very, very aggressive. The play calls are aggressive. The players themselves play aggressively. That was actually one of the things that Sark figured out in the second matchup in the SEC title game. He figured out how to use the aggression of Georgia against them. I call them ag beaters. They're double moves, whip routes, things that will use the aggression and the fast flow tendencies of Georgia against them. And they use a lot of those stalk slants, double moves on the outside. And I put all those in a category, call them aggression beaters. They average almost 15 yards per attempt. Throwing those types of routes, scored on a 41 stalk slant against Georgia in the SEC title game, had a 32-yard double move to Matthew Golden on the outside, 22-yard whip route to DeAndre Moore. You need more of that against Georgia because they're going to be aggressive and you need to use that aggression against them. That's one of the things I love about them, but it's also one of the things that I think you can use to your advantage if you're Texas.
How do you feel like Sark has built this? Because every year it's like you get a different team almost.
Yep.
And you have to get that cohesion going early on. How do you feel like he's building? Because really, it's not so much how you start if you can win, right? It's how you finish, right? How are you playing once you get to November and December?
Yeah, it's interesting because, early on in the season, I think he had a vision for what he wanted the offense to be. I had a coach in the NFL, Ray Horton, always tell me life and football are constant struggles deciding between what you want to be in order to thrive and what you need to be in order to survive. And I think Sark wanted to be a pro style kind of old school play action back. He had Arch in the center early this year a lot. And had him doing old school play action, turn your back to the defense and turn around. So I think he wanted to kind of go back to the true pro style offense. And now they're kind of going back to some of the things that they did really well last year. Quick, high percentage passing game, a lot more RPOs, a lot higher screen rates as well. Just easier completions for your quarterback. Not saying Arch won't get back to that point where he can chunk it downfield and hurt you with the verticality. But why not give your quarterback some easy completions, get him into a rhythm? So I'll give Sark credit. He solved a lot of problems. I think he put his ego to the side and said, listen, what do we do well? Let's just focus on that. They want to run power gap schemes early on, like they were going to run downhill and play bully ball on teams. That did not happen in the SEC. So you have to evolve. And he evolved. They changed the offensive line a little bit, shuffled some things there, changed the passing game quite a bit as well. And now your younger wide receivers have stepped up. You had injuries there, Emmett Mosley and DeAndre Moore early on, but now those guys are playing at a really high level. Ryan Wingo has finally hit his stride as a player too. So I think that may be where you have the advantage. But give Sark credit. Early on, the offense was struggling, and he made some modifications. Now the offense may have hit his stride. This will be a referendum on all of those adjustments versus Kirby Smart.
Hey, if Arch Manning, if we could clear out all the BS and all the noise, if he was named, Dickie Williams, right? What would you grade him out as right now? Like how is he doing? Like, let's just say this is a regular dude, right? Like could you put a grade on him as far as this season is concerned? And where are you at with him?
I like him, but I think we crowned him too early, right? I mean, I remember we prematurely crowned LeBron James. I'm old enough to remember that. So are you, right? He was in high school. Like, King James, he's going to be better than MJ. And we're like, what? That's crazy. Turns out he actually came close to meeting a lot of those expectations. We did the same thing for Arch. He's going to be the number one overall pick. He's going to win the Heisman. And I think that backfired on everybody. He just needs more reps. I like what I see out of young man. Got great scrambling ability, great second reaction skill. He loves the deep ball. Completing right now with 45% of his deep balls, 20 yards or more down the field. That's a natural, I think, asset for him. I'd give him right now, I'd give him a C+, because this is my issue. Because I've seen the flashes of brilliance. I see why he could be a Heisman winner, and I see why he could be the number one pick. He's a Manning, for God's sakes. But I haven't seen the consistency, the baseline of consistency, right? It's way too erratic. He hasn't had two good games back-to-back, guys.
No.
All year long. He hadn't had 2 good games back to back. Because the Mississippi State game, that wasn't good the entire game. Vanderbilt game, he showed up. That was a great game from Arch. So we haven't seen back-to-back good games from Arch. That's what we're waiting on, right? That consistency. And when you get there, and I think you will with more reps. He still got to, he ain't leaving to go to the NFL after this year, so he's coming back. You'll get that consistency probably next year. But right now, he looks like a high-level, blue-chip caliber quarterback, but he looks like an inexperienced one. So you have the erratic roller coaster of production from him. Can we get back-to-back good games from Arch? I don't know. We haven't gotten it yet.
So here you are. You can remember this going to the vault as a player, going out to play a huge game against a program like Georgia. Where's your head at coming into Saturday? How excited are you? What is that vibe like?
That's interesting because I think – it's different for everybody, right? Different challenges for everybody. I think if you're in Sark, right? Sark, this is a big game for Sark, right? Sark's 0-2 versus Kirby, 0-2 versus Ron Day. Can't beat Kalen DeBoer, 0-2 versus. He's had his opportunities to kind of jump up. And I know he beat Saban, but had his opportunities to jump into that elite category of coaches and hadn't quite done it yet. So big for him. Arch, we all know, we just said it, right? If Arch can beat all the hype that we have for Arch preseason, gonna come right back if he beats Georgia over the road at Georgia. Because they're not going to beat Georgia without Arch having a hell of a game. He's going to have to put the cape on and have Heisman moments after Heisman moment to beat Georgia. And I think he's capable of that. And for the players, for the defense, I think they understand they have to lead the way. If the defense doesn't show up and shut down the Georgia run game, it's going to be a long day, period, for that entire team. The defense has to be the tip of the spear. And the defense, I think, understands that. And coming off the last 2 times they played Georgia, they understand. Listen, Texas, if you want to beat the man, you got to beat the man. Ric Flair said it, and he's right. Beat the man, you got to beat the man. And Kirby Smart in Georgia, that is the man right now in the SEC. So Texas, you ain't gonna beat the man until you beat the big dog. No pun intended. Well, pun intended, I guess.
Well, if they're gonna beat the big dog. I like that. No pun intended. You talk about the secondary, which you touched on earlier. I want to get to that now. I've heard you say before the secondary is the thermostat of the defense, right? So here we have Texas's secondary, who maybe needs a little bit of work. What's the thermostat at right now for the Longhorns defensively, and what do they need to do in order to shut down a really good Georgia offense?
Yeah, I think people aren't giving Gunnar Stockton enough credit. That's scaring me a little bit. We know Georgia going to be able to run the ball, lines of scrimmage, that's their about. But Gunnar Stockton right now, guys, you go look at versus SEC opponents, man, you're talking about first in completion percentage. He's first in touchdowns thrown. QBR, he's also leading the SEC. He's playing high-level football. The Texas secondary, this is my biggest issue with them. Because I got beat. You're going to get beat. I'm not going to criticize guys for getting beat. That happens. My biggest issue right now, they're not making plays on the ball. They've given up almost 750 passing yards the last 2 weeks, faced 80 passing attempts the last 2 weeks. They got 1 PBU, just 1. So if they're going to throw on you that much, you got to start making more plays on the ball. And they're not doing that. And last week they had some busted coverages, and they had a lot of freshmen on the field. Actually, at one time they had 3 true freshmen on the field versus Vanderbilt at the end of the game. And y'all saw how that went, right? Van almost got back into it. So I think the biggest issue is, or at least the biggest factor, they get Michael Taft back. They get an All-American back who's been out since that Kentucky game. So they'll get him back. They also lost Jelani McDonald, another starting safety in that game versus Vanderbilt. He's coming back. He was in concussion protocol. So you get 2 starters back in the secondary. That will help. And also, I think they needed that week to figure out, how they want to approach some of the concepts that have given them issues. Play action pass, bootleg, and rollouts have given them issues. Vandy killed them with that. They played a little bit of soft coverage because they're a bend but don't break defense. They've given up a lot of yardage on like curl routes and hook routes underneath. That's another big issue. And the crossing routes. They're allowing right now, to power 4 quarterbacks, over a 60% conversion rate on money downs, 3rd and 4th down, when they target crossing routes. That's a problem because you play a lot of zone defense. That means the linebackers aren't getting enough depth. That means the corners are being out leveraged. They got to figure that out too, because I guarantee you that Georgia's coming with that. So the secondary, I'm a secondary guy, so I'm watching them all the time. I love those guys. They got some really good players back there. They better come to play against Gunnar Stockton and Zachariah Branch. Got 80% of Zachariah Branch's yards are yards after the catch. So Zachariah is the real deal. His average depth of target, guys, is 3.5 yards. He's basically an extension of the running game. So if you ain't ready to tackle, that's going to be a problem. Also, one other thing, tight ends. I don't know why, but tight ends have been killing Texas lately. 31 targets to tight ends over the last 3 weeks, or the last 3 games. And who's got really good tight ends? Georgia. They got one of them lucky. They got Delp. They got this kid, Elias Williams, who's like 6'6", 250. Don't be surprised the tight ends go off because they've been going off on Texas for the last 3 weeks.
Is there an X factor or a matchup in particular, whether it's player or unit versus unit, that sticks out to you in this game that could decide the outcome?
Texas is top 10 in turnover margin. They take care of the football. If they can force turnovers, now Gunnar Stockton also takes care of the football. I think he's got 2 picks on the season. If you can force some turnovers, that could obviously flip the entire script in favor of Texas. Also, penalties. Texas has been terrible at penalties, man. They're like 122nd, I believe, overall. 129th in penalties. They can't beat themselves because Georgia does not beat themselves. They're a very disciplined team. Texas has a tendency to be undisciplined at the most inopportune times. That's also something to watch. And also Arch's scrambling ability. I went back and looked at it. Arch has been great on the scramble drill. Kirby even mentioned it. Versus Power 4 quarterbacks, he's averaging 12.3 yards per attempt throwing the football when he starts scrambling, averaging over 9 yards per rush when he's scrambling on scramble drill. When the play breaks down, he's been magnificent. And against the Georgia defense, the plays may break down a lot. So watch Arch's legs, scrambling ability. Kirby knows that, so Kirby's probably going to put a spy on him. That's good. He puts a spy on him. That gives you favorable numbers in the passing game. So that's a good thing if he decides to spy Arch. He's going to make life easier when he starts to throw the football downfield and open up some windows.
Is Texas going to win this football game?
Oh, man. I want to say yes so bad. But it's about trust for me. I love this Texas team. All right. I'm not saying they won't ever be trustworthy, but I've only seen it for like a week and a half or 2 weeks. Like I said, Arch hasn't played back-to-back good games. I still remember the Florida game. I love that Texas defense. It's great, but Florida pushed Texas around. And if I'm Georgia, I'm trying to take that Florida game plan and just run it down their throats. I think you can trust the Texas rush defense. You can trust the Texas pass rush. I'm not sure I trust the Texas secondary. I'm not sure I trust the Texas offensive line. But I think I trust Georgia and Kirby Smart's product more than I do Texas. But it is not the Georgia team that it was last year. It's not that dominant. It's not this category 5 force of nature that it's been in recent years. So I do think you can take them down. We just saw Bama do it. Bama, by the way, that's the recipe for Texas. They rush for less than 4 yards per carry. That's probably going to be the way it goes for Texas. I'm going to pick Georgia reluctantly. And if you ask me tomorrow, I might change my mind. But right now, I'm going to go with what I can trust. And I trust Kirby Smart and Georgia at home right now more than I trust Texas. But like I said, ask me tomorrow, I might have a different opinion.
Rod, this is fire. A couple more questions for you before I let you out of here. Just college football questions. Well, this first one involves Texas. Yesterday, I was watching Paul Feinbaum on First Take, and he was asked, should a 3-loss Texas team get in? And he said yes. He said, we need the best teams in. And then he kind of, he was giving it to a smaller school or Power 5 or Group of 5 school like USF. He's like, we should just have the best teams in. Why are we letting these Group of 5 schools in? What are your thoughts about that as a Titan that played at Texas, and Texas is known as one of the Titans?
Yeah, I think Texas should get in if they're 9-3. And I don't think everybody's 9-3 is going to be like Texas, but you got some sexy wins. You're right. You got 2 top 10 wins in that. And who knows, you maybe get another one. That's the whole point, right? You got 2 top 10 teams remaining on the schedule. So you'll have to have another. There'll be 3 top 10 wins. And you got the Arch factor. I know y'all don't like it. I know it ain't fair. Life ain't fair. Don't teach your kids that because that's a disservice. Life ain't fair. Texas has Arch Manning. Arch Manning brings viewers. Viewers brings in money. They want the ratings to be high. 9-3 Texas, that brand, I think it attracts viewers. And it's just so I'm with you. I think you do get a kind of a built-in advantage being Texas. I think it's unfair to the Group of 5 schools and those other conferences because I think big boy football is a little bit different. I think SEC, Big Ten is on a different level than the ACC and the Big 12. I think there are levels to this. Unfortunately, I don't know if anybody wants to admit it or not, but I think that's going to increasingly become more of an issue as we go forward. But I will say there is more parity right now in college football than we've had in a long time in all those conferences and at every level. So hopefully that plays out in the playoff too. So I'm all about expanding the playoff. Give more people shots. I'd love to be shocked by a Group of 5 school making a run. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'd love to see it.
No, me too. That would be a blast. One more question for you. You mentioned the Big 12. What are your thoughts about, Texas obviously no longer in the Big 12 and you lose some of those rivalries. Yeah. Do you as a former player and a fan of college football and Texas, do you miss some of that?
I do. I would love the Big 12. I grew up in the Big 12, man. Played. I got a lot of. So I do miss the rivalries and everything. I'm glad Texas A&M is back. A lot of lower fans like, I don't care about Texas A&M. I'm like, Texas A&M. That's a cool rivalry. Texas A&M. And by the way, for the first time in a long time, back-to-back years, that Texas A&M game will be bigger than the Texas OU game. Mac Brown recruited me saying, we got to beat OU, we got to beat Texas A&M, and OU became kind of this referendum on the two programs, and there was always whoever came out of the game the winner, you were propelled into the national championship conversation, right? And I think Texas A&M might start having that kind of effect. We shall see. But I do think one of the things that's interesting about the rivalries is that. And just how the college football is changing. Like what Texas Tech is doing, I think is interesting, right? You got to force the issue. You got to be a disruptor these days. You got to figure out some way to do it, whether it be through your coaching hires or be through your method or just the spending. I think that's kind of be one of the keys. And we've seen SMU did it. You got to force your way into this thing. and sometimes that's how sometimes we keep in rivalry. Sometimes it's like cutting rivals off. Like, nah, we got to cut you off because we're moving on and doing other things. So I don't begrudge other schools and programs for leaving rivals behind when they're trying to become a disruptor. They're like, hey, man, we got to be significant. We need to matter more. So we need to make these moves, no matter how kind of unorthodox or drastic they may seem. So I don't judge either side of it. I love the rivalries, but I understand why some of them just need to end.
Rod, man, amazing stuff. Hey, I know it's on Texas Football. That's a show where people can find you. Where else can people find you? This is amazing content.
Oh, I appreciate it. I do a Third and Longhorn podcast with some former players, Alex Okafor, the great Derek Johnson, my man Fozzie Whitaker, who works for the SEC Network, and Jeremy Hills, my man Nick Shuley. We all do a podcast getting together, talking Texas football, which is really fun. And you can always follow me at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. You got some questions or something, I probably got some random notes about it right here.
Rod Babers, man, you are one of a kind. I really appreciate you taking the time today.
Hey, thanks, Pete, man. I apprciate it. Anytime you need me, let me know.
You got it, man. Thanks so much. There he goes, Rod Babers. You better hurry up if you're going to catch him because he moves fast. That dude was lights out on the football field, and damn, he is good. I've never interviewed him or talked to him like that. Man, that was awesome. We'll step aside, come back. We got our picks for the weekend coming up. The Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovacics. Thanks so much to Rod Babers and Chris Visser for making that happen. We'll be back after this.
Serving Central Texas since 1889, TFNB, your bank for life, takes pride in being more than a bank. At TFNB, we remain committed to these principles. If you value them too, come join us. TFNB, your bank for life.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
What if you could clean clean? With bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops made clean, made to clean.
Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, for true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's kitbag.com. Kitbag.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite. At Tusain's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
A
house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Home's where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your taste. Mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports,
Welcome to Market XLS, your all-in-one Excel solution for investors. Designed as an enterprise-grade platform, Market XLS caters to investment managers, secure and efficient investment management and research. Book your free demo.
Everybody at Equalife really has a passion and a real interest in helping people feel well. How much further can we go to get you feeling even better? It is a complete partnership between the two of us.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on their screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com.
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Sousa to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code Sousa. That's SOUSA. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks. Win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play-and-get-terms_DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
All right, we're about to make our NFL picks with Kevin Hall, but first, let me tell you, Underdog, you know what they say, make picks, win money, and I've got my college football picks in for the weekend. Here they are. I told you guys I got to cover Ruben Owens in high school, one of the most dynamic athletes I've ever seen. He had a breakout game against Missouri for Texas A&M. 2 touchdowns in that one. I've got him with higher than half a rushing or receiving touchdown this week as Texas A&M takes on South Carolina. Darian Mensah, quarterback from Duke, quietly putting together a heck of a season. He was ranked 15th in ESPN's article this week at the top Power 4 quarterbacks. I've got him with higher than 229.5 passing yards. Duke will beat Virginia this weekend. Wayshawn Parker for Utah has had a crazy good 2 weeks on the ground. Baylor's run defense is weak. I have him with higher than 55.5 rush yards. By the way, he's over 100 in the past 2 weeks. And then Sawyer Robertson, 4 weeks in a row, 2 or more passing touchdowns. Even when Baylor loses, Sawyer throws the touchdowns. So higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns for Sawyer. If you want to play along with me on Underdog, those are the picks. Make them and win some money. Use that promo code Sousa on Underdog. Get all that bonus cash with your first deposit. That's just free money to make more picks and win more money.
Are you ready, Scotty? I'm curious. Don't look if you haven't already.
Okay.
What's the spread for Baylor, Utah?
Early in the week, it was closer than I imagined. I bet it's like 8.5 favoring Utah.
Kevin Hall?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to say go 6.5 Utah.
7.5 Utah. So you guys are right.
Split the difference.
There we
By
go.
the way, we welcome Kevin Hall to the Pete Sousa Show.
Yeah. Here we go.
Unstable pick six. How do we let's get in, Kevin? How did we do last week?
All right. So last week, okay, you both picked the Ravens over the Vikings in the Battle of Purple, and you got that one. And then Pete, you picked the Jaguars. So did I. But Houston won that one. Actually, no, I think I did pick Houston. Scotty got that one. And then you both had the Bucks over the Patriots, and looky there. The Patriots looking like the real deal. And then you both had the Rams over the 49ers, and that happened even though Devontae Adams is an old man, hers back. And then let's see, Pete, you got the Steelers, and Scotty got that one with the Chargers winning that one.
Joke that game. Yeah,
and then speaking of joke, one of the lowest scoring games of the weekend on Monday Night Football, Pete decided to still go with his Eagles and got that one, and Scotty picked Packers. So that puts Pete 20-18 on the season, Scotty at 22-16. Now, incidentally, you can go back and check out our pick six. We had only picked 2 games the same, and so I made a major comeback, and Liam and I are now tied at 34-26 on the season.
Wow, so you and Liam are really kind of kicking. Wait a minute, but you guys,
Scotty's going to finish with the best percentage on the year.
Games before us.
Yes, yeah. We were a couple weeks ahead. Percentage wise, I think we are still barely ahead of Scotty percentage wise. If you break down percentage,
will not last very long, boys.
This is a rough. We're actually normally right around the 67%. I think we're just barely over 60% at this point. So I blame you guys, but that's all right. We were doing just fine until
take accountability for yourself.
It's fine. All right. So this week, okay, here's the games this week that we have picked for you. There are some that are just totally lock, and then there are a few that were like, what do I pick this one? Do I pick this one to pick out of the to make 6? So here we go. The last one is just for the Central Texas people. Chargers at Jaguars to start off. These are 2 quarterbacks fighting to prove their worth, which right now is a buku of bucks, but should it be? I don't know. Let's start with currently in control of the board, Scotty.
I'm very tempted by the underdog here, but I'm going to go with the Chargers. If we were betting against the spread, I might take the Jags.
All right. Pete?
Chargers
as well. Pete just fighting to keep up.
Maybe I'll just go after Scotty every time.
Right. Nope. That's not how this works on purpose.
Okay.
Buccaneers at Bills, 2 teams that America would love to see the Super Bowl, right? But both coming off a loss, and the Bills had their second terrible loss of the season.
Inexplicable.
Which one? I mean, seriously, which one is going to come back and win this one? Pete, start with you.
I don't bet against Josh Allen at home in the middle of November. I'm going with Buffalo. You can't overthink it.
Right. It is a good point. Scotty.
Got me in trouble last week, but I'm sticking with Baker Mayfield. Give me Tampa Bay. By the way, I think this Buffalo team has way bigger problems underneath the surface, and I didn't think that until they got blown out by the Dolphins. Second team from Florida in a row. Going to knock off the Bills.
All right. There you go. And then next is the Seahawks at the Rams. The Rams are in their midnight mode, rivalries uniforms.
Those uniforms are sick.
Which I guess is dark blue. Still looks black to me. And then they still had the nice bright blue in there. I don't get it. Some of the rivalries are great and some of them aren't. So it's just what it is. So this is the best in the NFC West and potentially the best in the NFC, depending on what happens with the Eagles. No, sorry, Pete. No offense there. So
I was going to hold on to this comment, but screw it. I'll say it now.
All right.
Next time we're going to reference uniforms, I want pictures of the uniforms.
Okay.
So do that before and send it to Scotty.
Sounds good.
Be a prick right back at you. All right.
All right.
Keep going.
Yes. So we're going to go Scotty first on this one. Seahawks at Rams.
This is the best game of the NFL calendar season so far.
Wow.
I do not know who's going to win this game, but I'm going to go with the Rams. Listen, Seattle is super hot. Everyone knows about it. What people don't know is over the last 4 games, Matt Stafford has thrown for 13 touchdowns and no interceptions. He is fighting to be the best quarterback in the NFL as what? A 40-year-old? How old is this guy?
37.
Almost 40. We'll call. He's only 4 years old. I'm old. Okay,
He's
great.
He's from right up the road too.
Rams, hitting the Rams.
All right, Pete.
Yeah, I am not. I'm with Scotty. I'm riding this one till the wheels fall off. If I was a betting man too, like a gambler, I think it's Rams -3.5 is the number. I would bet on the Rams. I just want to see Matthew Stafford fail before I bet against him. This run is special, I think.
Yeah, and Puka should be back in good form at this point.
But the other thing I'll say, I did draft Jackson Smith and Jigba in like the 5th or 6th round, and he's been the best in like the 5th or 6th round of my fantasy league.
In Jigba? What'd you say? What'd you call it?
Jackson Smith.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's his name, right?
JSN. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yep.
Jackson Smith, and then you said something else.
That's his name.
Okay.
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I drafted him in the 5th or 6th round. He's been the best wide receiver in football this year. So if Seattle's going to win, it'd be because of him.
All right, we're gonna start with Pete on this one. Another good game.
Jackson Smith, the Enigma. I just wanted to make sure
that he hasn't reached that status yet.
He just doesn't read, actually.
All right. Then we have the Chiefs at the Broncos. Is there a changing of the guard in the AFC West? Pete, we start with you.
Chiefs. Chiefs.
Sticking
Again, that time of year.
With the Chiefs that time of year, hitting the stride. This was Scotty's Super Bowl pick was the Broncos at the beginning of the season. So, Scotty, what do you say now?
What do you mean that time of year? Playoffs haven't started yet. Give me Denver all day. Mile high, baby.
Oh, I love it.
Fun game to watch.
It's going to be a great game.
Yeah.
Great defenses. Both offenses could be in potential problem. And I don't know. I think offensively, I would trust the Broncos better, but I don't remember what I picked. You have to go back and check out ours to see what I picked.
I'll go the other way on you. I actually think the Broncos offense has been the scariest part as someone who picked them to make the Super Bowl, but their defense is one of the best in the league. And that Chiefs offense has been inconsistent for 2 seasons running now.
Have you guys, by the way, have you guys seen the guy on like Instagram or whatever, where he goes through like the wives of certain people and says whether he would like them or not? There's one he puts up a picture of Jim Nance and Jim Nance's wife, right? And the guy goes, "I don't know, Jim. I don't know." Right? like he's not sure. And then they show another picture. It's like a better picture of Nance's wife, and he's like, "Oh yeah, definitely." It's funny. It's funny. All right, go ahead.
What's that have to do with
Nance and Romo are going to be on that call?
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
So I was thinking I can't wait.
The struggle for us as Colts fans is, do we want, with Liam and I discussed this, do we want the Chiefs to win or the Chiefs to lose the week before the Colts play in Arrowhead this week? I don't know. We are excited that the Broncos defense is good, but still looks way different than the Colts defense, at least. So next game, then we're going to start with Scotty on this one. It's Lions at the Eagles, Sunday Night Football. This is all about keeping pace in the NFC.
And wave Lions. And Lions big.
Lions big on the road in Philly.
Dan Campbell is taking over play calling duties. And did you see what that did for them this past week? It's over for the rest of the league. I'm wondering now if the Lions are going to make the Super Bowl. Lions.
Wow. Pete?
Hey, Scotty, it's the HR department. They're going to drug test you after this show. Because that's impossible. Eagles. We just went in and stole the soul of the Packers Monday night in Lambeau. You think we're going to cough one up at home?
Oh, no, the team that Dallas took to overtime. I'm so scared.
Took the soul of the Packers by 3 points.
And look, that was a soul
10 points victory. Total.
Yeah. Whether or not Nick Sirianni tried to give it away. Yeah, I like the Eagles.
Crawl, Eagles, crawl. Okay, so then the last game here for the Central Texas audience here, because there weren't a ton of great high-level games other than this. We're going to go with the Cowboys and the Raiders on Monday Night Football. Is it going to be another terrible Monday Night Football? Surely the Cowboys can't screw this one up. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Pete?
Weirdly, I think it works out in the Cowboys' favor that they're on the road. For some reason, I like that, especially after everything that happened last week with, the tragedy, and then they lost at home on Monday night. I just think it's kind of like, let's go to Vegas. It's not like they're playing in Lambeau. I mean, they're playing, at Allegiant Field or Allegiant Stadium. That place is like a palace. I don't think it's like a real scary place to play. I like the Cowboys on the road. I'm taking the Cowboys.
All right, Scotty.
Yeah, this is not my week to be anti-Cowboys as the cynical fan. I think they are going to actually play tremendous coming off of what they've been through this past week. Hearing what Brian Schottenheimer said this week, I think this team is going to play well. And by the way, the Raiders are awful. Like,
yeah,
horrible. I feel bad for Ashton Genty.
Yeah,
I feel bad for Pete Carroll. That franchise is toast.
Yeah.
So
And
Cowboys by like 3 scores.
And a lot of the turnovers that Geno Smith is having, it's not even on him. It's tip balls, it's drop passes, it's all these different, collection of terrible things that have happened
The
together.
best thing that's happened to the Raiders is that they picked Pete Carroll to be their head coach. So this is an easy rip the Band-Aid off and let's move on. And everybody would move on and be like, yeah, we tried. I don't think it's like something that'll set the organization back.
Yeah. All right. So before I leave, I got a couple questions for you related to Indiana sports because it's been a pretty big week for Indiana sports. I don't know. I know there's been lots of other things going on y'all have been talking about. I don't know if you realize like the crazy things that happened for 2 football teams in Indiana this week. So my question, IU played Penn State and Mendoza threw a interception, led to a touchdown. They had to come back, and then he, after getting sacked on first down, ripped 4 passes that were absolutely amazing to score the winning touchdown. Was that his Heisman moment?
Scotty, you go ahead first.
No, it wasn't. And it's unfortunate because I really like him and I'll be really happy if he wins it. I think in my mind, he's more deserving than like a Julian Sayin, who's probably the favorite in this moment right now. But no, I don't think so. I think appropriately so. A lot of focus has been placed on the catch in the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
And that is not to take away from Mendoza because he put the ball where it needed to be, like you pointed out multiple times on that drive. But you saw Indiana come together and win that game as a team. I think there could still be a Heisman moment ahead for Mendoza, but no, I don't think that sealed it. And even all the conversation this week, there seems to be a lot of buzz growing around Jacob Rodriguez, maybe a little buzz growing around someone like a Marcel Reed or a Haynes King, even more so than Mendoza.
Yeah, I mean, Gus Johnson did call it as only Gus Johnson can. Oh my goodness,
I love it, by the way. People rip on Gus Johnson. I think he's great.
He's an Ohio State guy, so I don't like that part. But the way that he commentates the game like a fan is just incredible. And I saw Joel Klatt say that was the best catch he's seen all season. And I mean, as much trash as we get to give the refs, credit to that ref for getting out of the way, watching the catch, getting down, watching the feet, and calling it correct live in person is great. So
yeah, that's a great call. And look, I think that the least prolific part of that play was Mendoza, to no fault of his own. I mean,
he had 7 people in his face.
I think it was the catch, and then Gus Johnson. It's like 6, 7, and then Mendoza was the guy. But I do think that was potentially his Heisman moment. I do think that, even though he fell behind the catch and Gus in that moment, because I think that the trophy is just so up for grabs this year. If nothing else crazy happens and he holds serve, it could be his award, and I think that could be the moment we're talking about. And simply for the lack of competition for this award this year, it sucks, and that's what it bums me out because I still think if the team had gotten their stuff together, that Sawyer Robertson could be the guy we're talking about.
Correct.
But it blows that he's not,
By the way, let me just throw this out here because I do have an agenda. Haynes King is on pace to finish with 3,800 passing yards and 1,200 rushing yards. Georgia Tech potentially in the playoff. To me, it's him or it's Mendoza who are taking what we would just call a non-traditional power to the postseason. That would be who I would be inclined to vote for. More than like a Julian Sayin or a Dante Moore. That's Scotty, but I don't think all voters feel the same.
All right. And then the other Indiana football team, the Colts, had a walk-off victory in overtime in Berlin. I said that Jonathan Taylor still has 1 less touchdown than Jesse Owens has gold medals in that stadium, but it took Jesse Owens a whole week to do that, and it only took Jonathan Taylor an afternoon. So the question then is, can Jonathan Taylor be the first running back to win MVP since Adrian Peterson? Is that correct?
Yeah.
In 2009? Is it there? Because he now is the all-time leading rushing touchdowns leader for franchise history for the Colts. better than Eric
Wow.
Dickerson, better than Marshall Falk, better than Edgerrin James, who actually
Wow.
spent most of his
When
career.
you talk
there.
about Marshall and Edgerrin, that's amazing.
Huge.
I mean,
deal.
those
Dickerson
two
had a cup of coffee there. That's why. I mean, he wasn't there that long.
Those two kind of split time between the Rams in different cities, but Edge spent almost his entire career there, and he still is better than that. And he is on pace to break LT's record of single season games with 3 touchdowns or more. He only needs one more to tie that, and there's 7 games left. So with all of that, does he have what it takes to be an MVP this year, considering, as you mentioned, the competition? Maybe Matt Stafford being the best candidate other than that. What do you think?
I think so for sure. Yeah, especially with and we talk about a lot of times with these awards, the success of the team. And the Colts are playing very well. They're a great story. He's at the middle of that. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Scotty, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the competition here is more fierce than for the Heisman Trophy. And, you said 7 weeks left. So let me just get the obvious out of the way. He's got to stay healthy through the rest of the season.
Yep.
And we all hope he does. And the Colts need to maintain this pace of winning. If the wheels fall off the next 7 weeks, it's not happening.
To your point, the Colts have, I think, the 4th most difficult schedule left. They play the Chiefs. They play Houston twice. They play the Jaguars twice, which they haven't been able to win in Jacksonville in 11 years. And they have to go to Seattle and host the Niners.
So, but by the way, tremendous opportunities there for Jonathan Taylor to put up those kind of numbers against Seattle and San Francisco.
Yeah, right.
That would be great for him. So, yes, he's definitely amongst the favorites. I think Stafford is making a huge case right now. I think Baker could very easily get back up if Tampa Bay kind of gets back to where they were a few weeks ago. But yeah, I would like to see Jonathan Taylor win it. Just, you know how I feel about LaDainian Tomlinson. So when you put those two in the same conversation, I'm like, yeah, give it to him. Let's go.
Yeah, I think
one thing I want to say. Well, go ahead first. Go ahead. Finish your thought, because I do want to talk about indie sports too.
Well, I think what we lose in a lot of this, MVP being the QB award
Scotty,
and
when it's the
everything.
three of us talking, keep the 3 boxes up. I think it looks great. I do. I like it. It makes us look important.
I think
You
that
just want to keep your face on the
No,
screen.
I don't.
No solo
because-
shots for
no,
Kevin.
because I don't like when I start talking and then it's just me in a room by myself. Like, where'd the other guys go?
I think that we lose the fact that this is a QB award, but what we need to focus on is this is the most valuable player to their team, and in that case,
Which is why quarterbacks usually win it.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know that you can say that Jonathan Taylor is not the most valuable player on that team, but at the same point, at this point in the season, the Colts not having a bye until this week, the Colts have the #1 rush yards in the league, the #1 pass yards in the league, and the #1 tight end receiving yards in the league right now.
Can I ask you a question? If you're going with that most valuable angle, which I appreciate, I wish that was the angle of the award all the time because it's not always. Would there not be a bigger argument for Daniel Jones than Jonathan Taylor because that's what's changed this year as opposed to the last 3 or 4?
You could say that as well, but obviously the other thing with a running back is, well, it takes the whole entire offensive line and the tight end group. And I mean, Alec Pierce running, just straight down the field to block the safety on the backside to allow Jonathan Taylor to have that 83-yard run that looked like it was going for 1 until he bounced it out. So it takes more of a team effort. Whereas the quarterback is, you rise and fall with your quarterback. I totally understand.
Yeah.
Pete, what were you going to say?
Well, no, I was just going to say about the Colts. One, I still am upset. Now, I love my fiance, but like I missed the boat on Carly Ursay. I just could only imagine if I was like, I was her husband and I was like up in the box, like pointing down at her after like huge wins. Like I'd be pointing down with her and she'd be on her headset. She'd be pointing up at me. Like, yes, and I would be the owner of the Colts in some way, which means you'd be stuck with me. Then another thought about Indy, because you brought it up. And I actually tweeted this when this old football account that I follow was talked about on Halloween night. It talked about Eric Dickerson's 4 touchdowns in the first quarter against the Broncos. Now, my theory on that performance, and I believe this, okay, that performance by Eric Dickerson, I think was the push over the edge that the Colts needed to be in Tecmo Bowl. That 4 touchdown performance on Monday night, the next year, Dickerson, because remember now, Tecmo Bowl only had like 12 teams, and the Colts were one of them, which was a shock. And I think that Monday night game, after he had just gotten traded from the Rams to the Colts, was what put him in Tecmo Bowl. And another quick point: the first time I've ever had an issue with our girl Sophie Cunningham. I saw a clip with her and the guy. What's his name? Wes?
West, yeah.
Wes or West? West. So her and West. And she was taking a huge dump all over the guy who proposed to the girl at the Ole Miss football game. She was like, I would never, ever, if somebody proposed to me at a sporting event, I'd be like, no way. I was like, I just never seen that side of her. I was a little disappointed. She was too cool for school. But that was frustrating. She's usually not like that.
Yeah. You mentioned Halloween. I think the number one Halloween costume in Indianapolis for girls, Carly Ursay Gordon.
Oh, yeah, of course, right?
The dress, the heels, the hat, the headset. Bunch of people all over.
What
all
is
the girls.
what's the end game there look like? Like, I worry that if the Colts start to suck, people are gonna like publicly climb all over her, which I don't even care, and I don't think she will. But like, she's very front facing right now. And she doesn't say much, she doesn't. And she seems amazing. I just worry about if the team were to have like a misstep, it'll get interesting.
Owner's not going to go away. That
Yes.
franchise has been in that family as long as it has been. Ursay, Bob Ursay, you can, check out all the information. He flipped the Rams and the Colts and just to try to make something out of nothing, and then also move the team to Indianapolis in the middle
Bob
of the night.
Ursay story. Have you ever seen the band that wouldn't stop playing? I urge you. Have you seen that?
I have.
It's the 30 for 30?
There's a 4-part podcast series about the move from Baltimore to Indianapolis. It's also pretty fascinating. But we said at the end of last season that the problem is not Chris Ballard. It's not Shane Steichen. We identified, and we did this before he died, but we said the problem is Jim Irsay. And look at this. Jim Irsay is no longer with us, and the girls have been able to restore the amazing franchise history that was to the Colts that Jim never actually got to, bring back.
A Super Bowl, dude.
Yeah.
Come on.
He
won a Super Bowl.
Right, but since then, it's been this very dark time that he's never been able to bring them out of, and here the girls are doing their thing.
Yeah,
and
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Bob Ursay, by the way, legendary alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the things in that documentary, they show just interviews with him where you could tell this guy, you're like, well, this guy's half in the bag right now. They caught him at an airport and they were hitting him with all these questions. He was flying back from, I think, Phoenix, because there were fears that he was going to move the Colts to Phoenix.
It was close.
Yeah, and they catch him at the airport. It was the same thing with the Eagles, by the way. They almost went to Phoenix too. And then the Cardinals eventually went. But they caught him at an airport, and you could tell this guy's slashed, and he's like yelling at reporter. It was like, it's total theater. So yeah, Kevin Hall doing it again for us. Anything else?
That's it for me, man.
Scotty?
I'm good, man. My allergies are like destroying me over here, so I apologize for the.
We are doing our first IU basketball episode since the Colts are on bye week this week, so you can check that out because they put up back-to-back hundreds on folks, including
they look good,
including Shaka Smart's Marquette team.
They look good. Is
DeVries playing?
DeVries is playing. Yes, he at 6'7" hit a step back 3 last night. Now
that guy's good. Dude.
It was against who was it against? Somebody from the Horizon League, but it was like the top echelon of the Horizon League.
Yeah, dude, that guy's insane. That's going to be pretty cool to watch.
Yep.
All right, Kevin Hall, thank you to you. Scotty Spingler, thank you to you. Everybody that watched us today, thank you to you. And Rod Babers, we were so lucky to have him. We'll post that if you missed it. We're going to put that up soon. Legendary lineup coming next week, by the way, courtesy of our guy, Chris Visser. But as far as tomorrow is concerned, we're going to be talking actually Deion Sanders, because if you look at what Coach Prime has done this year at Colorado, he's done the best he can, but it is not going well. So Dave Logan, who played with the Broncos and the Chiefs and has been a real strong radio voice out there in Denver for a long time, working with the Broncos. And also when I lived in Colorado Springs, when I worked for USA Basketball, we would pick up the feed from Denver, and I would listen to it was Logan and somebody else, but they had a show in the afternoon. Maybe Armstrong. It was really, really good. So I love Dave Logan. Pumped to chat with him tomorrow. And yeah, just pumped to be with you guys. Thanks again to Rob Babers, just absolutely amazing. The Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovakics. We will see you tomorrow.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level when we shut down to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Show. Sports.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Show. Sports.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.